My name is Vanessa Holt, and I used to think silence was a sign of weakness. I learned otherwise the day I outsmarted my husband and saved everything he tried to steal from me. We were married for 10 years. People used to say we were the perfect couple. Him, a charismatic real estate developer with that politician's smile, and me, the soft-spoken wife who painted in her free time and hosted dinner parties like my life depended on it. But what they didn't know was that behind that smile, Damien was building a life I was never meant to be a part of. And I didn't find out until it was almost too late. Started one Tuesday morning. Damien had left early for a conference call. He always had one. I was sipping coffee in my studio, scrolling through Instagram mindlessly, when an email popped up on the shared tablet we used for house expenses. The subject line read, "Final wiring instructions, Cayman Trust account." I didn't open it. I didn't need to. My hands were shaking as I stared at the sender. Lawrence and Bell, Offshore Asset Management. My gut told me to close the app, pretend I never saw it. But something else, something colder, told me to investigate. I did. And that's when I discovered just how far Damien had gone. Over the next 48 hours, I did nothing but dig. I went through old tax files, backtracked emails, opened drawers I had never dared to look inside. And what I found made me sick. He wasn't just hiding money. He was preparing to leave. Without me. There were apartment leases in his name. One in Miami. One in Lisbon. There were legal drafts for something called a post-marital financial partition agreement, with only his signature on them. He'd even sent in an application for residency abroad, single. I wasn't just being left. I was being erased. But here's what Damien forgot. I was raised by a litigator and an art dealer. I knew how to find things people tried to hide. And more importantly, I knew how to smile and nod while planning a war. So I played dumb. For 2 weeks. Every dinner, every laugh, every kiss goodnight. I gave him nothing but sweetness. And all the while I was assembling my team. I called my brother, James, a cybersecurity analyst in DC. I told him everything and he agreed to help. No questions asked. Next, I contacted Mira, my mother's old friend and an estate attorney who specialized in high-net-worth divorce cases. She called me a unicorn. "You're catching him before he leaves." That almost never happens. Together we came up with a plan. And I executed it like a silent assassin. First, we secured the house. Refinanced under my name alone, using a private loan my art had quietly accumulated value for. I had been more successful than even Damien realized. Then we froze all joint credit accounts under a fraud alert. I told the bank I suspected unauthorized activity, which technically wasn't a lie. Then I went after the companies. Because Damien, in all his genius, had used my name, my clean credit, to open several shell LLCs he used to flip properties. He thought I didn't know. But I did. And I made sure I had documentation. Once that was ready, I waited. And then the moment arrived. He came home one Thursday evening looking different. Like a man who had just secured his escape. He poured wine for both of us, set down a charcuterie board like he was on a cooking show, and sat across from me with that politician's grin. "I've been thinking," he said. "Maybe we should take some time apart. It's not you. Just changed. You deserve better." He sounded so sincere, like he was doing me a favor. I just stared at him for a moment, then smiled. "Funny you say that," I said. "Because I've been thinking too." I reached into the drawer beside me and pulled out a single folder, labeled, "For Damien." Inside were copies of every wire transfer he thought I wouldn't find. Every shell company document with my forged signature. And a letter from my attorney notifying him of the pending investigation into misuse of marital assets. His face went pale. "What is this?" I leaned forward. "This, sweetheart, is the end of your performance." He tried to argue, deny, even laugh it off until I dropped the final bomb. The prenup he thought was just decorative. My father had insisted on it. Ironclad, signed under full financial disclosure. And hiding assets. That was a direct violation. which meant he wouldn't just lose everything he tried to take. He'd lose what little he still had. The days that followed were chaos for him. For me, they were quiet, peaceful. He tried to smear me online. Anonymous forums, false accusations, even told people I had embezzled from our own home renovation fund. But the receipts were mine. Every lie he spun got snared in its own web. The forensic team traced the offshore transfers to an account in his name, from a joint account I had already closed before his final wire could go through. He didn't see it coming. In court he looked like a ghost, hollow, desperate. The judge didn't buy a word of his story. And when the ruling came down, asset freeze, court-ordered repayment, and full ownership of our properties to me, I didn't cry. I simply said thank you, because I had already moved on. Now I live alone in that same house, the one he thought he could steal from under me. Paint again. My gallery sales have doubled. And I sleep better than I ever did while he was whispering sweet lies into my ear. People still ask me, how did you do it? How did you stay so calm? And I always say this, because I was never just a quiet housewife. I was a storm in still waters. And he was the fool who forgot to check the tide. Script ends.